everybody, my name is Sandra Yap from FOMO Media and I am here with a very special lady, ZING, which is on the board of directors of Litecoin Foundation.
That is correct.
Yeah, thank you for being with us. How do you feel about Blocfest? What is your Blocfest experience?
Oh, it's been great. People are extremely friendly, the speakers are knowledgeable, and we're having a lot of fun while discussing very pertinent issues. I think it's a great event.
Awesome. And are you based in Southeast Asia yourself or?
Yes, I'm based in Singapore, or as I would joke, Singapore.
Singapore. Oh my goodness. So you know that and you're familiar that Singapore or like Southeast Asia have been the talk of the town of being the blockchain growth hub of in the world, right? Why do you think that is?
Well, definitely you have a huge population, right? You have 100 million, yeah, in Philippines, over 250 million in Indonesia. People are young, hungry, smartphone penetration is high, hence you have all these mobile wallets, and people are hungry to learn and to adopt. Yes.
They're open to adopt because they're still developing and blockchain actually solves a lot of the issues.
Pain points, yes.
Yeah. And what do you think is the low-hanging fruit at the moment for blockchain in this part of the world?
Low-hanging fruit, I mean, it depends what you mean. I would imagine a lot of it is about, first, definitely education and getting people up to speed on what this technology is about. That should be fairly low-hanging, Have conferences, outreach programs, university education, people talking, the buzz, especially in countries where social media penetration is really high, like Philippines and Indonesia. Just talking, right? And that's how people learn and share information. And then I guess on adoption, it's really about how do you have more users and informed users, not just speculators and traders, but potentially even moving towards like enterprise adoption.
And is Litecoin Foundation doing any lobbying for like regulators for them to understand the space better, for them to help in terms of drawing the guidelines for the regulations and all that?
So Litecoin Foundation is set up as a non-profit, basically to advocate for payments using Litecoin. So a lot of it is community driven.
So more like merchant adoption?
Yes, merchant adoption, payments, different things by which the cryptocurrency could actually be used.
Okay.
So I guess a lot more grassroots efforts. We have people working to see if we could have POS terminal integration, onboarding of people. Like just now we had a discussion with a gentleman who is like, oh, maybe you guys could use Litecoin to pay at my resort, for example. So things like that. But a lot of it is really organic driven by the community rather than a top-down driven hierarchical approach.
Okay, so you're not talking to regulators in terms of trying to help to draw those guidelines?
I feel and I think we can always have dialogues, and in sessions like these, like you see regulators around. I'm not aware that there's a formal closed room kind of working session necessarily, but we do have the ability to just have informal dialogues. I'm from Singapore, and so there's also the Access organization, right? Association for Cryptocurrencies, and basically there's a lot of ongoing dialogues with regulators, MAS.
Oh, that's good.
Things like that. So.
And recently we heard that Litecoin Foundation purchased a 9.9% stake in a German bank. This is extremely big news. So could you kind of tell us more about it?
Yeah, so actually we did not purchase, we're not the purchaser. It's actually a strategic partner, TokenPay, that purchased it, but then the stake was then gifted to us for our help with the technical integration of things.
What is Litecoin's new release? Are there any new releases coming out in terms of like the technical side of things?
Yeah. I think technical development is always ongoing. We have a lot of developers working on upgrades. And then a lot is then now we're really trying to advocate more for actually adoption. Okay. How does this thing work in real life, and the partners that we can work with in real life to ensure that it could really be used as payments, because that's in reality, the biggest differentiator in terms of smaller block size, faster transaction times, all the stuff that's needed to enable payments.
And the developers, are they kind of a centralized entity? Do you guys have an office, or is it completely decentralized?
Yeah, it's decentralized. I don't think we have an office per se. We operate on the Slack group. There's volunteers. There's also like maybe a small number who's paid by the foundation and working on core upgrades and things like that.
Amazing.
Yeah, but it's
How
really
about
decentralized.
the people that wants to actually contribute to building Litecoin? How are they actually incentivized?
Good question. So talk about incentives, right? Unlike people who've done ICO and now you have this huge amount of money that you can start paying people, nothing in Litecoin, nothing's pre-mined. So essentially, your miners are also your coders and developers and investors. They're all like merged into one. So I guess for people who want to contribute, you could look at being a volunteer. You could volunteer to code. You could volunteer to run events. For example, we just had our first inaugural Litecoin Summit 2 weeks ago. So it's all volunteer based. We need a banner. Okay, somebody says I can do it. We need donations.
And they get airdrops? No?
No.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's a complete
it's
free
really,
will.
Yeah, it is free will.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's a very different kind of incentives where it's driven by the interest in the technology and in the community rather than just driven by, I'm going to get X dollar or X coins out of this.
Awesome. Actually, there's this news that I've heard on RSK, and that I heard that they are actually doing a compatible sidechain with Litecoin. Is there any news about that, or is that secret?
I guess we'll wait and find out.
Okay. And one last question. There's not a lot of women in this space, as you know. So, power to that. What is your opinion in terms of being a woman in this space?
I tend to think of meritocracy. It's not really a gender thing. However, I acknowledge that in certain industries, there is the question of access. I actually think in this industry, it's easier for ladies, more than conventional industries, given that some of your transactions you could be anonymous. Nobody's gonna check your gender before you could buy and sell stuff. You don't need permission to go on an exchange or to buy coins. You don't even need to be like of legal age to be, So I think entry barriers are quite low. And I guess it's more about advocating that, it's nothing to be fearful of. And even though it's very nascent technology, it's a good time and space to be in. So I think the question was, how do we encourage more women? Or just jump into it, we're all like friendly people.
Yeah.
And just
Awesome.
do it.
Just do it. Where can we find out more information about Litecoin Foundation and what you guys are doing?
You could find it on the website, and we also have a Litecoin Foundation or newsletter.
What is the website? Litecoin Foundation
.org, I believe.
.org?
Yeah, but I just do a Google search and you'll see.
Okay. Litecoinfoundation.org, or just Google search just in case. And then you can join them on all the Telegram, social media platforms. And if you like watching this, subscribe to FOMO Media. Never mind.
Google it.
No, just Google it. Thank you so much, ZING, for being here with us. I hope you have a great time in Malaysia and also the rest of Blocfest.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.